Thank you for joining me here today and welcome to Mary is the Mediatrix, to Ordination of Catholic Women. I was called over 20 years ago to consecrate the Eucharist within the Catholic Church. However, this was to be within a renewed church. God does not wish me to become a priest in the present structure because it needs transformation and renewal. Now you might be thinking that this is quite revolutionary. However, in Pope Francis's first pontificate letter, Evangelii Gaudium of 2013, he writes of transforming everything within the Church. Today I'm going to be looking at the document Inter Insignoris on the admission of women to the priestly ministry. Indeed, one of the arguments is that a woman's call is not genuine. It says, such an attraction, however noble and understandable, still does not suffice for a genuine vocation. Since the priesthood is a particular ministry of which the Church has received the charge and the control of authenticating such a call, and in quotes from Mark 3:13, Christ chose those he wanted. Mary has to say about that. So I'd been thinking about this and I thought, I'm going to pray to Mary about it. So I did. It was late at night and I was praying, speaking to Mary about what the church's teachings, and of course, Mary knew about my call to consecrate the Eucharist. So I was praying to Mary about it, and suddenly Mary said the words, to serve, to serve. And I thought, yes, the Eucharist is about serving. It is about serving our beautiful God, but also serving the people. And then I thought, serving has to do with being humble. If we are going to serve, then we are to come humbly before God and before the faithful people. And Mary said, it's more than that. Mary said, this is about when you stand behind the altar, that not only are you acting humbly, but that you must acknowledge that you are a sinner, just like the people gathered before you. Mary was saying this grace, this call, is not connected with power as a special grace. And this must be recognized by the people. That when we share in the Eucharist, that we are sharing together as sinners and as people who are full of trust and hope. There can be, Mary says, no power associated with the role, no separation of the people. Only God should hold the power. Only God. And I thought, yes, Mary, you are so wise. You are so wise. As Jesus said, I have not come to be served, but to serve. And then I thought of God. God who says, I do not want sacrifices. I want mercy. And then Mary made it come into my mind that if indeed both the person consecrating the Eucharist and the faithful people gathered are all sinners, then no one should ever be separated from God by refusing them the Eucharist. To enter into it with all of us, regardless of our sin. For it is only by doing so that we receive, when we place the host in our mouth, the presence, the power, the mercy, the forgiveness of our beautiful God. And as Mary was saying these words to me, I had a vision of Mary. I could only see her from the shoulders up, and she had a cloak over her head that fell over her shoulders. Her face was to the side of me. I could see the side of her face and the outline, but it was in a shadowed form. She was bowing her head and cupping her hand up to her mouth. And she was repeating this action. And while I was watching her, I was thinking, what is Mary doing? Like, is she trying to say that I should be feeding people? Because, of course, it's in relation to the Eucharist. And I thought, no, it doesn't seem to be like that. And as she bowed her head and cupped her hand and brought it up to her mouth, there seemed to be some sort of falling from her hand, and I couldn't really understand what they were. And I thought, well, I don't understand, but I know that Mary will reveal it to me. So I wasn't worried about it. I thanked Mary for her wisdom, for her love. Next morning I got up and I started to think, well, perhaps she's holding a rosary. Perhaps it's the beads that I can see. I thought, oh, why would she be cupping them to her mouth? And then I thought, no, it suddenly came to me, Mary revealed it to me, that she was drinking water. And the beads, what I thought, were actually droplets of water from her hand. And I thought, well, I still didn't really understand. I mean, I became a theologian myself to try and understand why the Church's teachings were prohibiting women from consecrating the Eucharist, but this was not my area of expertise. Of course, I know about Mary, but I knew it had to be significant in some way, so I decided to Google it. And I typed in Mary drinking water. And lo and behold, what came up was the words Mary's well. What's mentioning at a well or spring being the site of the Annunciation comes from the book of James, which dates to the 2nd century, and the author writes, and she took the pitcher and went forth to draw water. And behold, a voice said, Hail, Mary, full of grace, you are blessed among. Found just below the Greek Orthodox Church of Saint Gabriel in modern-day Nazareth, dedicated to the Annunciation, the well was, until recently, served for centuries as a local watering hole for the Palestinian villages. This was extremely significant for me. It was about the Annunciation, and Mary was saying to me, where do you think it all began? Mary, a Jewish woman, called by God and delivered in a message by the angel Gabriel. Now, this was very significant. Mary was saying to me that she was entrusted by God to be part of the salvation of the world with her son Jesus. Not because she was being obedient, not because she was being subservient, but because Mary was saying to me, I did it to serve. To serve. It was very profound. It was a beautiful gift. Mary was saying to me, in other words, yes, a woman can receive a call, a genuine call. However, if you say yes, like her, you do it humbly, you do it to serve your beautiful God and or God's faithful people, and you do not have power over others because of it. I thank Mary for her wisdom. I thanked her for helping me to understand the way that God wants me to consecrate the Eucharist once the church is renewed, which it will be.